Hi guys, I've just finished creating the last video and it was called Using Packet Tracer to Simulate Accessing Real Equipment. And we walked through connecting from PC1 over to the switch using Telnet. And we spoke about the fact that it was insecure. So this leads me on to this video to demonstrate using Secure Shell or SSH. So let's get straight into it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to PC0, which has got a console connection still to my switch. So I'm going to connect to that. Let's just drag that over so we can see it and click OK. So what's our password? So let's pop in our password that we created in the last video. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into enable mode and I'm going to pop in our password. So it was Cisco. And I'm now going to walk through the steps to configure SSH. So I've outlined them here just beside us in the window. So essentially we're going to, step 1, assign a domain name. Step 2, create a local user database entry. Step 3, configure a transport input for the VHY lines. And then we're going to ensure that those lines work for the local database for authentication. We're going to generate some crypto keys and we're going to test connectivity. So our first objective there in the list is to create a domain name. So we're gonna need, in order to get SSH to work on this switch, we're gonna need to have a domain name and a fully qualified domain name. So in this case, I'm just going to say IP domain name, and I'm going to say, let's spell that correctly first, and I'm just gonna make up something. I'm just gonna call this Cisco Lab.ie. If we had a real company and that was the real company's name, that's what we could use. So in this case, what the fully qualified domain name would actually be, in this case, it would be host1.ciscolab.ie. Okay, so once we've got that domain name set up, I'm now going to need to set up a user, a local user, in order for when I go to SSH into the switch. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to set up a user. So I'm going to need to set up username. And this is the name of my user. I could say Greg for this, and I could say the privilege level. So again, sometimes you'll notice me doing that. I use the tab key to help me as a shortcut, but essentially this is going to be username Greg, so that's my name or my username that I'm going to use to log in just a moment. I'm going to give myself privilege 15, which is going to give myself admin privileges. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say secret. So I'm going to give this is going to encrypt the password that I use, and the password that I'm going to use is going to be Cisco 123456789. Okay, again, it's not a very secure password, but let's use that for testing purposes. So I've now created my domain name, I've created my user. Now it's part to actually enable SSH. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go line VTY 0 to 15. So these are all of my VT line ports. And what I now need to do is I need to say, okay, I want to allow this for only SSH. So I'm going to go transport, and then I can use my question mark to figure out what I need to, which is going to be my protocol. The protocol that I'm going to basically be using is define which protocols to use when connecting to the terminal server. So in this case, it's going to be input. Now, if I was to press question mark, I can either use Telnet, I could use SSH only, or Telnet only, none to stop all protocols, or all. I could allow both SSH and Telnet. For my purposes, I'm going to say transport input, and I'm just going to say SSH. So before, PC1 was able to connect to the switch using Telnet, not anymore when I press enter. That's now only allowed SSH. So the next part of this is I created a username up above called Greg with the password. So what I now need to say is I'm going to say login local. So this is going to enable my password. So when I log in, it'll check off this local user database. So once I've done that, I'm on to the next step. And the next step really in this case is to generate a public and private key. So what I need to do now is I'll exit out of that and I'm going to go crypto, okay, key, generate, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say RSA. And once I do that, it's going to ask me how many bits do you want to make as this key. Just something else to just take note of here as well is that this is my fully qualified host name now. In this case, it's asking me, do you want to just take the default of 512? I'm actually going to double this size to be more protective. And it's best practice. Better practice to 512 is really weak from a key size perspective. So I'm going to double its size to 1024, and it's essentially then it's created these keys for me. So once I've done that, I can now move on to the last step, which is really testing the connection. So I'm going to say exit here, and what I can do is I'm going to move over to my friend, the PC1 in this case, and I'm going to try to SSH essentially in. So I'm going to move over here. I'm going to ensure I can do a quick ping test. Well, actually, before I do, let's do a quick ping test to our switch. I can ping to the device. If I try to telnet to the device now, okay, it shouldn't allow this to work. And again, it's refused. Okay, before it was working. This time, because I've set up SSH, I'm going to go SSH -L. And then what I will do is I will use my username of Greg to log in. So I'm also going to have to say, so that's SSH -L Greg 192.168.1.1, which is the IP address of the switch. It should prompt me now for my password. And this was Cisco 123456789. And I'm now into the switch. So I've now got access to my switch, but this time I'm using Secure Shell, which is a secure encrypted protocol that will essentially scramble my text from PC1 over to the switch. Okay, that's it for today, folks, on this particular video. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you did, please subscribe to my channel and hope to see you soon. Thank you very much. All the best.